Hello, my name's Russ McLean. First of all, I have to apologise for the speech impediment. Uh, I was hit on the head with a ferry and that caused a stroke. This is almost recovered, but some folk think the guy behind in front of the lens, the camera here, has had a wee drink. I promise I'm teetotal. Um, it's always an idea to consider putting subtitles on. I mean, you're battling against several things. One, if I'm speaking with Glaswegians, I'm born in Glasgow, the accent kicks in. I try and speak with the pronunciation, so you can understand what I'm saying. We're starting these videos. Well, basically because of this. We were approached by a commissioning editor, a very nice lady, about. I'll see if I can put that to the camera. That's our main publication or our website. The idea was to have the format. One of the ideas was to have a bus going around the UK to unusual places where unique property, and we'd visit, maybe have a cup of tea on the top deck and have a chat. Um, where we are just now with this is we can do this without having to bother too many or take on too much commitment for the likes of the people. This is a very good television program, and they work very hard at it. And I don't want to go off half-cocked with some random idea that doesn't work. So we're really looking at this. I don't know about the format. It might work. But the reason for this video today, apart from the fact we're experimenting with YouTube video channels, is, and also it's a lot easier. Sorry, it's a lot easier with for many folk with a video than reading through reams and reams of text. You get this rather rude TLDR, too long didn't read, and it defeats the whole purpose of our job. Or this is a hobby gone wrong in a magnificent way for us. It's been going on for 40 years, since 1985. I'm thinking I tried to get that you can't really see it on the middle monitor is the place it was born, the Unique Property Bulletin. This channel is the Lighthouse Bulletin. We've slightly changed it. It was the first. I'll start at the beginning because it'll make more sense. A very good friend called Mike Moore showed me how to work the internet and set up a basic website. In actual fact, the Lighthouse Bulletin was, he said, pick something you like, and I like lighthouses. So we learnt the protocols of the coding and all that. And we set up a basic website in, I think, 2010, just to see how it worked. And then I forgot about it, and we were going on, and we did the Unique Property Bulletin, and we were getting really into that. And then I found this Lighthouse website. I thought, that's quite interesting. It was mine, forgotten about it, which is what you're watching just now. The Lighthouse Bulletin's gently gone along, and we have a slight problem in that we're not journalists, we're just volunteers. There's a group of approximately 11, but I've called it the sweetie shop complex. It's when you're in a sweetie shop, the strawberry fields. When you're picking a strawberry, one goes in the basket, one goes in the wain's mouth. When you're featuring lighthouse stations, it's very difficult not to buy them if you can. And what we did at the beginning was a group of 10 of us, 5 or 10, we put £5,000 in each and buy the lighthouse station. That I don't think I've got. No, it isn't here, and I can't find the picture. There's a picture somewhere. It's on the website. It should be on the website. I'll come to that in a second. The Strathy Point was one of the first we bought, and we just needed a house each. So we bought the whole station and split the title, and it worked out very well. That was a long time ago. That was 1999 or thereabouts, and we're now on our 5th station, where they just come up for sale. If they don't sell, and often they don't sell because they're needing quite a lot of work done on them. And we've been very lucky with the Northern Lighthouse Board. They've been magnificent in helping. In fact, we've managed to host them at Noss Head. They stayed at buildings for about a year whilst they did the tower. We renovated the old keepers' places. It was derelict in Noss Head in the 1990s. One gentleman, Ian Sinclair, 3 actually, the Viscount Thurso, the other Caithness, and Prince Charles. And it's kind of weird. You've got a picture of Prince Charles sitting on your lounge, your settee. It just still blows my brains a bit because in my life and many people's lives, we've always had the late Queen. And then I don't want to say too much here because I don't want to misspeak. Not least of which, our patron of this charity is the King's sister. I don't know how that happened. It's possibly because of that model. I mean, the real ship's sitting in Glasgow in the charity, which is part of what this you and us do. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't do what we do. And one of the things we don't try and in Scotland, it's called bumming your load. Virtue signalling is a horrible phrase. We try not to do that. But the problem with not doing that is people don't know, and things like that. I've got a phrase: a ship is a hole into which you pour money, a hole in the water into which you pour money. So, and where am I? Sorry, this is one of the reasons I'll put a couple of clips below here. It's a bit cheeky of me because I'm no longer a trustee, but this is given from the heart. My friend Ian Sim, oh, sorry, mustn't touch the mic, you'll get them in the ears. My friend Ian Sim now runs the charity. He phoned me up. He was introduced by a lovely guy called Gordon, who knew of the website and knew that we'd accidentally bought the MV South Sea ferry. That's another adventure. That was a Denny built ship. That's a Denny built ship. Ian and I, first conversation was about 6 hours. And then eventually the charity was formed as a safety net for the chap that owned it. And he struggled, and the charity ended up buying the ship. And now, I mean, Ian Sim now runs the charity, and he's devoted 10 years of his life. He's actually a lawyer, and he should be a judge by now, but he's devoted 10 years of his life to that. So I kind of feel like apologizing because I'm no longer a trustee. I did about 7 years, but there's other things, and I will come to this in a second. In case you're in a rush, you need to duke out the house quickly, or rather, hopefully you can stay for a cup of coffee, and I'm just going to take a sip because I'm a bit dry. Excuse me. And again, I'm new to this, and these are unedited, which is a problem. We need to get editing. Also, it's not the stroke. I've always been like this, apparently a bit eccentric and peripatetic. That was the word I learned the other day. I think it means jumping from one thing to the other now. It's just the way the brain's wired. And for good or bad, it's been very good to me. Sorry, I keep hitting that microphone. Right, where were we? I'm going to put a couple of clips on how it should be done. Unfortunately, one of them is the late, great Robbie Coltrane. I would have given my teeth for Robbie well, a lot of us would, for Robbie to have seen the ship sail. We thought the ship would come up to, it was actually built in the Clyde, but it was built a Danish ship that built us, slightly up a cul-de-sac, but putting that aside, so as I don't get emails coming in saying, well, you got it wrong. The ship was always, our job was to rescue it. Just with this one, we gave it 7 years extra so the charity could maybe get the things sorted, but it never happened with the South Sea. I'm trying to point at that wee ferry. The big ship, and I'm pointing at the model at the moment, but the actual ship is in Glasgow, and we never thought this would happen, this is one of the reasons we do these videos, is to show that no matter what condition you're in, and I'm pretty decrepit, the discs have been taken out my back, another 2 out my neck, stroke. I'm getting to a stage where friends are actually having strokes as well. I want them to know, just it's worth keep on going. Don't waste your life on the golf course, spoiling walks. There's adventures and mischief you can get into. Well, it's not for me to say. I just want folk to know that even if you have had a bang on the head or whatever, there's still plenty of life. If you can find a way around it, your hurdles and problems about being disabled, you can manage to do useful things and still be of use. And that we never thought would go back to sea, but it's currently being renovated. As I say, that's not one of the charities I'm involved with. The first one was called Credit Cure, a friend. This is actually quite difficult to talk about. I don't want to gloss over the gravitas of the thing. In 1996, one of my friends took his own life in London, and we set up, or created, well, asked his widow if we established a charity to reduce the number of debt suicides, and we did, and it ran for 11 years. We tried to delist it from the Charity Commission, and we did, but it's now a not-for-profit association because people kept coming to see us, and you can't turn people away when they're in difficulties, especially when it's relatively easy to sort. Debts is criminally easy to sort, and creditors want it to be sorted. Debtors, you just need a mediator, and that's where we're going with this. I have to apologise to the people that are looking at this website and wondering why it's been pretty much closed for several months. What's been going on? And what's been going on is my friend who taught me how to work the computers in 2010, Mick Moore, he started a thing that should have been called Mix List. That's MICKS, Mix List. But for some reason he called it Callum's List, which is my middle name. There's a long story I'll cover later on about that. Mix passed away, and I've inherited this terrible, terrible website. Now, rather than just have a memorial to 60 people that passed away, the original, this is in, the Callum's List started in 2012, I think. And I hadn't actually looked at it for about 10 years, but I can't bear to look at it. It's horrible. But I've now got custody of this website, and we've been working on it, and we're transforming it into a way. It's live, and the reason it's normally you take the whole thing down and then put the new website up, but the numbers are at least one person takes their life every day in the UK. So it's being built before your eyes. There's typographical errors and all sorts of mess there. That's why the Lighthouse Bulletin hasn't been on the go. What was supposed to happen, charity number 1, Credit Care, debt advice charity. Charity number 2, the T.S. Queen Mary. If you defined it, the acronym we did was F, that's Foxtrot Oscar, Tango Sierra, Quebec Mike, FOTSQM. It's an odd thing, but if you Google Queen Mary, you'll find 10 universities and 3 hospitals or whatever. It's quite difficult to find, so we did this acronym FOTSQM that helps you find the website. Also, there's probably a link. Robbie does this magnificent thing, and I'm aspiring to be as short, concise. I mean, in fairness, Robbie Coltrane's he was a classic. Well, he's a very good actor, a very good mechanic. He was brilliant with the ship, and I aspire to. He's short, concise. He's like a barrister. He's got an elegance of speech, whereas me, I'm stuttering and whatever. But what I do need to do is let our Lighthouse Bulletin folk know that not only is it very much on the go, this was supposed to be charity number 3, the National Lighthouse Preservation Trust, because there are, that is one, that's NEIST, N-E-I-S-T, NEIST Point Lighthouse Station. It's owned by a lovely lady. It's not my business to intrude or intervene, but we would like to make an approach to see if we can help her restore it on a charitable basis. That there are a lot of lighthouse stations. Strathie Point was one of them, where it's economically viable for a group of friends to buy a house each and renovate it. Renovating 4 or 5 houses together, especially if they're Grade A listed, is a nightmare. And even the Noss Head Lighthouse Station, where you've got effectively the king, although he was Prince Charles at the time, Viscount Thurso and the other Caithness, plus Ian Sinclair, who was he was the catalyst to it. They originally owned it and brought it back from dereliction. But even when the likes of the king struggling, or the Prince Charles, he was passionate about the place, which is why it was quite unusual to see him. There's photos in the album that Ian's widow gave me that I'm thinking, is that the king painting? Well, he's a king now, but I shouldn't be joking about that, because to me, these are very private, and the other Caithness, we've got paperwork there that really shouldn't be in my custody, but I've been asked if I could put it in a safe place, and that's an honour almost, because there's a trust there, and I won't betray that trust, because we're all individuals and human beings, and there's human rights for everybody. To me, it doesn't matter if you live in a big house, and frankly, I couldn't do the likes of the job of the king. I wouldn't want to. When you look at the other side of things, and whatever your politics or your views, we were struggling to raise £20,000 for this at the start. We were begging almost. Robbie Coltrane raised £100,000 for that, literally by signing autographs. A magnificent human being, and he wasn't well. He couldn't keep him well. And then the Princess Royal became patron, and it's all public domain. £400,000 a year, which means not only it's going to be it was going to be a static exhibit. It's now going to be, well, the aim is that it's going to sail, and hopefully alongside the Waverley. And I struggle to get about now, but I would really make an effort to go down and see the 2 of those ships sailing past each other, and being on one of them going out and the other coming back. Robbie says it a lot better. I'll put that down there. It's a little bit cheeky of me, but I know we've got a lot of shareholders that we're sitting on 585 shareholders when we're a public company, small public company. But charities always need to raise money. So that, on that perspective, I'm happy about including that. But as far as this video goes, and I'm going to stop now because I can go on for a long time. I try and keep it to 11 minutes, and I've already exceeded that. I want to let our readers from the Lighthouse community know that we will be rebooting this site. The pictures some pages will have no pictures, but there's a copyright troll problem. All our pictures are either our own or people who have given us copyright permission or Creative Commons. We do use Alamy. They're an incredibly good, newspapers use them. They're a photograph agency. We have an account and we've always got 20 odd credits there. So, but we always attribute the Alamy photographs. So, but one could slip through, and we have had an approach by this, I think it's Higby or whatever. I mean, it's people that have got websites, especially charities. This horrible organization comes after the charity or the small person that's all they're doing is disseminating knowledge in a positive way they can. And this American lawyer comes and tries to sue them. And he's over in Britain just now. He's met his match, I would suggest, because I tend to win more cases than lose. But we've taken all the pictures off the website and we're starting again auditing every picture. So that's why you may be seeing pages with no pictures, and I apologize for that. But the website will start to rebuild. The other thing is my time, because that computer sort of tells me you've spoken long enough, McLean. The Lighthouse Bulletin is intended to be a charity. I think it needs to be. The Unique Property Bulletin won't be, can't be. But either the Lighthouse Bulletin will become a charity or it will give birth to a charity, because I believe there's I'll cover it in other videos. I don't want this to go on for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But the Lighthouse Bulletin is coming back. We will be starting to list properties, and it will grow as it did organically from 2010 or whenever it was first put online. There are other really good websites. Joy Tubby, the lovely, lovely lady does this rental website, and it's a really good website. I always say to folks, if you're thinking of buying a lighthouse, go and stay in one for 2 weeks in the summer and 2 weeks in the winter to see if it suits you and you suit it, because it's one of the most tragic things I ever saw. Well, no, one of the sad things I saw was somebody bought a lighthouse up in Orkney and they sold it exactly 365 days later because it wasn't their cup of tea. And that, it's like the dream's been burst. So I think it's Joy. I'll put in a connection, Joy Tubby. Joy, I apologise if I get your name wrong. I mean, we've met a couple of times, I think, but we certainly, well, I know of Joy, and I think she probably knows this eccentric person somewhere in the ether, but at least exists now. There's websites that do rentals, lighthouse rentals. Now, we're not quite that sort of lighthouse. It was just to learn the internet to start with. This is where I'm going. Sorry about this, guys and ladies and gentlemen. The reason we've been off is Mick's list, but it wasn't. He called it Callum's list. And rather than just be a memorial for 60 people that have passed away and a lot more that are at risk, we're going to, we already are rebuilding it in a positive and constructive way. The fact that we're going to start repossessing banks, which I never thought the law would be that helpful, but on appeal with the wonderfully elegant and eloquent Sheriff Niven Smith and his ruling at Dundee Sheriff Court earlier this year in 2025, charities under the Land Reform Act can, if harm's being done to the community, charities can put together a group and mandatorily seek to purchase a building or land. And the same goes for the likes of SSE, who just happened to take £38,000 out of our account, £19,000 twice for £190 direct debit. But I'm going down rabbit holes now. What I need to say is the Lighthouse Bulletin will be, well, it is back. Exhibit A. There will be, if you'll be patient, it'll probably take a week to put the properties, but the list will start to grow of properties for sale. We will be then focusing on renovating lighthouse stations. I mean, Ailsa Craig is, I need to atone for. We used to own that, we sold it. It's very difficult for us to get to from Kintyre, but from Girvan a lot easier. I'm doing it again, I'm going down rabbit holes. We will be turning this website, from this website will be born a charity that will renovate the lighthouses like Nice Point. Well, we'll offer to renovate or help renovate like Nice Point, where the person is, for whatever reason, not able to finish the journey that they started. And on a very gentle way. I mean, if the person doesn't want any communications, that's fine. But there seems to be a tragedy in that the the Queen Mary, we never thought that that would come back, let alone go back to sea. And it just shows what good-hearted people can do. And there's 26,000 people support that charity. So with the likes of Nice Point, and anybody that knows about this, it's an iconically beautiful, magnificent station. But when you get close up, the buildings are looking really sad. They're getting to a tipping point where dereliction's not far away. And mea culpa with Ailsa Craig, I sold it to a gentleman who was unable to continue with the project, and they've just become very derelict. So at that, my friends, I shall wish you a good day and apologise for going on for a little bit longer than I thought, but hopefully it's made sense, and please feel free to get in touch via the comments box, wherever it is. Okay, guys, I'll see you soon. If we can switch this thing off.